How's everybody doing? Hope you're having a good Sunday. We're just about ready to get started. Our first Simpsons Sunday stream. Make sure everything's working alright. How's it going, guys? Hope you're all doing okay. Retrogram 3R89. Thanks for coming. It was not bad. Found you on the Facebook page earlier and thought this would be something I'd enjoy. I certainly hope so. We're going to get started as soon as possible because it seems like we're ready to go. Yeah, I have a ton of Simpsons related shirts, and one of the reasons why I'm doing this is one of the many reasons I'm doing this is it's an excuse to show them off. What I'm going to get started with is the idea is a couple of quick sketches and then sort of the main event. That's not going to work. And hopefully we get some people coming in. Some discussion going about the show. This is going into my third week as a streamer, so I'm gonna switch the camera because you guys don't need to be looking at me right this minute. There we go. Why you should always plan ahead. Let's try that again. Alright, much better. Too low. Hopefully all this attention to detail related to drawing exact circles pays off. That's more like it. And my good friend Lindsay's here, Pagan Little Bug. You missed me incorrectly drawing a couple of circles, that's all. Retro says I see what this is going to be. It doesn't take much. You gotta start off strong today. It almost feels like cheating to start, to start the first stream with a Treehouse of Horror drawing, but when you want to start strong, you start strong. And I'm wearing a Treehouse of Horror themed shirt right now, anyway, or at least half of it is Treehouse of Horror themed. Lindsay technically picked it out for me. She voted on which one I should wear. It's cheating because it's, I almost consider it cheating just because it's too recognizable, too immediately recognizable. And, it's easy to generate a laugh with. I'd like to start a poll in a little while too. I just figured out how to do that. And eventually, what I'd eventually like to do is do a poll, because the idea here is doing 2 sketches and then like one main painting type of thing. Simpsons mug, by the way. I'm gonna show off some of the merch right now. For now. Coffee mug, which was on the Facebook page earlier. Pins on the hat. And then my shirt, which is a double feature of Citizen Kang, but also what Lindsay voted for, which is Cape Fear. I'm also a little bit delighted that this shirt fits me better than I expected it to, given all the weight I feel I gained over quarantine. Back to the show. Problem with adequately lighting this. Problem with adequately lighting this page is just that it's taking literally all the light away from the rest of this room, to the point where I'm gonna have to turn on a light in the background. Let's see here. Yeah. To ensure that I'm not constantly shaking the camera like that. Quarantine 15, is that what they're calling it? That sounds about right. So I can see what's going on my own table off to one side. You guys can't see it, but I got a table off to one side with all my stuff on it. Try not to make this an exclusively technical line related drawing. Part of the fun of doing these Simpsons related bits or artwork is seeing how you can make them interesting in your own way. Also to see how quickly I can do it. Seeing as how there's a lot I want to do tonight, this is the first time in streaming that I'll be drawing something, that I'll be drawing more than one thing on the same stream. I would like to try to knock these early sketches out pretty quickly. Now, let's see if I can color this without totally smearing every bit of black. See, why do I always use this particular marker and it always comes back to bite me because it always ends up smearing immediately. Which means it's probably going to smear an awful lot right here if I'm not careful. I don't know if this is Simpsons approved yellow, but it's very close if it isn't. I know what the hex number is. Well, I have it written down. I have the hex number, the hex color key for Simpsons yellow written somewhere. I've seen what the Pantone color is for Simpsons yellow. We're gonna get a hint of that. Funny thing about that is Donut Homer is actually not Simpsons yellow. Donut Homer is a little bit darker than that. We're gonna try to find out what shade Donut Homer actually is. This'll do. Yeah, that might be a little bit too light. Almost certainly. Thanks for the host, by the way. Thanks for the host, Retro Gamer. Appreciate it. Let's see. Here? Yeah, that'll work. Cool. Very much appreciate the host. this is gonna be a photo finish to use this marker to color Donut Homer without draining it completely. I might have to mix it with something else. So I've been here just a few minutes and you made me smile. Well, that's great. Making friends through art is very important to me, so that's pretty cool. Probably should have just painted this part, but I thought I had a lot more ink in this marker than I apparently do. I don't happen to have another copy of this one, do I? No such luck. Oh well. I'm gonna unleash this poll. I know there's only 2 of you in here, but hopefully you don't vote for the same, hopefully you can at least narrow down what I'm going to attempt to do next. Let's see. And the poll for today, and there's going to be 5 minutes for it, so hopefully there'll be time. And and the poll's going to be which obscure Simpsons character am I going to draw next. And when I say obscure, I mean obscure. So, let's see if this actually works. Not sure it did. Yeah, not a regular appearance at all. No, doesn't look like the poll's working. I'm not sure I want to spend a whole lot of time making sure that it's making sure it's in there. I'm gonna have to work on this later. Nobody's seeing any poll in the chat or anything like that, are they? That figures. Check one more thing. Figures. Well, I'll worry about that later. Yeah, I'm doing it through Streamlabs. I don't... That's something I really needed to have studied a little bit closer later, at a much later time, or a much markers are dying. That's another thing I'm having a problem with here. But that's less of a problem. We'll get back to the, I'll tell you what the options were. And you guys can let me know the old-fashioned way, what you prefer next. And the obscure, yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna ask you guys directly. It's still smearing. It's ridiculous. Now, like I said, the question was which obscure Simpsons character would you like to see next? The options were, and I'm going to double check my phone here because I have them all referenced. The options were Henry Kissinger, Charlie, Little Jamshed, Just Stamp the Ticket Guy. Let me see what the fifth option was. And the fifth option was Leopold. I always forget. I keep forgetting that was the last option. So I'll put it in the chat. Do a low tech today. I'll figure out what I did wrong with the polling option later on after I'm done throwing things around and yelling a lot. We got one vote for Little Jamshed. And I'll finish this one up. We got one for Jamshed and one for Kissinger. Let's see what we got time for. Tell you what, because it gives me the option of also drawing other characters at the same time, it may take a little longer, but it's also going to be funnier. Oh, hey, Luke 8 Zombie, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Thanks for coming. Okay, so we got two for Jamshed. I'll do Kissinger. I might do Kissinger as like a much more detailed drawing. The idea here is 2 sketches and a painting. So this is sketch number 2. Just gotta get the glare off of my phone. I said 2 sketches and a painting for this Simpsons Sunday. This is sketch number 2. We'll leave this over here. Okay, that's better. Get my drink here for a minute. Just to further keep the Simpsons theme going and committing fully to a bit. Today I have both in the Simpsons mug. I actually have lemonade. And a beer. I got a lemonade and a beer. The lemonade is not. It's in case you're wondering, it's not Country Time lemonade. So there may possibly have been something close to a lemon in it at some point. But it's actually Newman's own lemonade. So if I don't put in a good word, the ghost of Paul Newman's gonna have my legs broke. That joke just doesn't work the same without Paul Newman being alive. Rest his soul. Yes, I made it from lemons from my town's lemon tree. Lemons being the sweetest food available at the time. Now we'll try coloring this first before we start inking it. I was a little bit too quick to bust out the ink last time. I believe I'll be a little bit less quick to do so now. Hopefully this will the said tree also banished from your neighboring town. It was haunted. At least that's what they say. My markers are in critical condition right now. I didn't realize it was that bad. No wonder I've been painting more than I've been markering. Is markering even a word? I hope so. Okay. And this is kind of the format that I want to... Is coloring your drawing? It may very well be. Oh, that's just cruel. That's just cruel. Let's see if I can power through this last bit of gray lavender, and then I will hear no more from it, because this is way above and beyond what I would tolerate from an empty marker. Luckily it's just sketching right now. Alright. There we go. It's practically dry, like right there. You can kind of see that it's dry at the end. Alright. Well, it served me well for tonight. Yes, very possibly need to visit the Quickie Mart for some new markers. Gray lavender. Totally empty. I like your hustle. That's why it was so hard to cut you. Gray Lavender is your stripper name. That sounds like an old-timey stripper name, like from 1955 or something. I mean, if that's what you're going for, then. Yeah, I'll stick with this. At least it's a marker that's not about to empty out on me. At least it's a marker that actually has marker in it. I don't know if that's the actual color you would necessarily say. And I think you guys have seen that I'm kind of particular about the colors matching how they look in the show. Nope. This'll do. I'm almost tempted, like I'm actually kind of tempted to have you guys try to pick out my shirt for the next Simpsons Sunday. See, that would have been a good poll question too. Let me see if I can find my notebook though. Yeah, Retro Gamer, we may be looking at the same picture from the show if you unless you go directly to you went directly to Frankiac. That's not what I'm looking for. That's more like it. Funny thing is, I have another gray lavender marker somewhere. For those who weren't, who haven't seen or weren't here yesterday, I actually got back a bunch of my art supplies that I didn't have access to for a while, and some of them included. And it included some replacement markers that I had gotten. And I know there's another, gray lavender marker in there somewhere, which is why I didn't hesitate to cut this one. It was dead weight, just like Marty. Fix this up in just a little while, but if there's one thing I cannot abide, it is Simpsons eyes that are not round. And when I say round, I mean fully circular. So we'll fix that up in just a minute, but it's important to do that first. We're on a good pace here. Some straight lines, which actually in Simpsons land are sort of the easy part most of the time. Such simple lines. I forgot Jamshed's finger was on the trigger over here. Fix that in a minute. Or actually, I'll fix it now. Mistake will be fixed right now. Gotta remember to switch the camera this time. It's been a problem I've been having lately. Like I said, I'm still relatively new to this streaming thing, so sometimes to make a point or to address whatever audience I may have, like all two of you guys, or three in this case, I will switch to the camera that is pointed directly at me and say something. And then when I go back to drawing, I forget to turn the camera back to the camera view back to the camera at the table, at the drawing table. That didn't work out too well. Oh well. And then I'll look up and, I'll see, like, the big camera's on my face, and I'm like, how long has it been like that? How long have we had these fish? Okay. I think if Lindsay's still in here, she's actually watched far more recent Simpsons episodes than I have. But one episode that I do remember seeing was the episode where you see Jamshed, little Jamshed is actually all grown up, which there are a great many things in The Simpsons that people have said, quote unquote, break the illusion of the show. And most of it is just, nitpicky. but it's really supremely weird. If there was anything that was gonna break that was gonna mess with the reality of the show or mess with the illusion that the show sort of created, it was seeing this kid who was supposed to be this kid, as like a 20-something like post-millennial kid in newer seasons. And meanwhile, Bart and Lisa are still 8 and 10 years old. It was just weird. Like, you can't always have it both ways. Yeah, see, Lindsay knows which one I'm talking about. I didn't think that. See, that's hilarious. Like, I didn't think that Lindsay would end up being my go-to person for newer Simpsons. For newer Simpsons episodes. You've been 27 for the last 11 years. Me too. Get rid of some of this that was a close one. It doesn't always come out the way that I would prefer. 10 years. You're still older. Apparently one of the newer ones, Grandpa tells about how he was, when he was younger, he was in a gay relationship. I don't know. Lindsay, you know anything about that? I'm trying to remember if I even heard anything about that. I feel like I would have. Interesting. Well, Grandpa's been pretty much everything in the last, like Marge says, God only knows how many years, so why not? He did wear a dress for a period in the 40s, so why not? Yeah, now I'm gonna have to go and watch that episode just out of curiosity. I'm gonna have to track it down. I don't know how recent it is or isn't. So, all right. We're gonna take a quick break, very quick break. I'm gonna readjust and reset some of my drawing table area, and then we're gonna get to painting. So stick around. $23.50, which means $11.50. Well, we're gonna be here a while longer. You're welcome to stick around as long as you want. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna take a very quick break to reorient the table. Be right back in just a moment. Please disregard any sounds that you hear. You know, sometimes when I put the "Be Right Back" sign up, you may hear it coughing or sneezing or talking softly. Disregard. Yep. Let's do that one. Let's see how this looks. Oh, needs some adjusting. I knew I wasn't going to be able to do that without actually seeing it. Let's see, right there. Retro Game says, wrestling fan of my childhood dream was to go to WrestleMania and NYC, so did both go, did both in one go last. Oh, you were at WrestleMania last year in Jersey? That was actually a pretty good one. I kind of, you know, I was at the other WrestleMania in Jersey. I went to 29, the one from 2013, and of the two, last year's was the one I actually wish I had gone to. Yeah, last year was not a great time for me as far as any kind of recreational activities, so I ended up missing out on a lot. Now, what I decided to do was since we didn't do Henry Kissinger for the quick sketch, and I really can't think of any really good ideas for painting wise. We're gonna do the rather famous scene, and I'm using the wrong set of paints. We're gonna do the Kissinger scene, but we're gonna do the full version of it, and we're gonna do it in our paints here. So I'm gonna do my best to recreate this. And the first thing I need to do is find my ruler. And here it was. Yeah, that's a legitimate turn of phrase at this point. But 2020 is, it's apt, I tell you, apt. Again, we're gonna do this as quickly as possible and then tighten everything up in the painting and inking phase. Doing a little bit blue. I'm doing the blue pencil here just so it's easier to see this part, because I'm going to be spending more time on it than the previous drawings that I did. It was horrible because no flights to U.S. from Europe except UK and Ireland, and a few days later added them. Don't blame them for once, it was something sensible. Yeah, I think pretty much everybody's plans got foobarred this year, no matter what they were. You know, I had plans for at least 1 or 2 conventions this year. That didn't happen. Almost none of my friends have seen my new apartment because they, nobody's gonna travel and nobody wants to be in close proximity to anybody else. My best friend was here for the very first time, was in my apartment for the very first time ever yesterday, and I've been here for 8 months. Okay. It's hopefully a little bit easier to see. Now we get to the fun part and the characters that we already know and love to hate. Let's see here. I always get carried away drawing Burns' huge bald head and sloping forehead. It's just too much fun, and it's too easy to get carried away with it. One thing that actually does, like, I like 99.9% of the Simpsons art that I do, but like one thing that kind of outs me as kind of a rank amateur in drawing in this style is the teeth. I can never get the perfect round, like the perfectly round teeth to look perfectly round, or as perfectly round as the animators do. It's a little thing, but it's something to work on. You can always get better. Mm-hmm. And then Burns' arm just kind of drags off to the edge of the screen there. Sort of. There's a little sleeve action over here. And then Never Far Behind. Smithers, first name Waylon. The spatial distance here is probably not going to be exact, but I just want to I want to make sure Smithers gets in the shot. There's almost certainly an animation style sheet somewhere. Probably somewhere in both Burbank, California and in Korea, that details exactly how many points Smithers' hair has. Make sure you color Smithers correctly. You don't want the original style. They should have had the balls to keep Smithers his original color. That would have been interesting in some ways. Alright, I'm going to count the point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12 points in Smithers' hair. I made it to 10. I'm not going back and fixing it. A little bit of background. This is the door leading out of Burns' office in the background. You know, the doorway leading out of the office in the background. Now we're going to see what we can do with this as far as painting goes. I'm going to try to get the easiest parts out of the way first, and that be also the parts that everybody will see first or see immediately out of the way, and that is the old Simpsons yellow. Again, this is probably not the fully correct shade of yellow for The Simpsons, but it's close enough until such time as I find the exact Winsor Newton shade of yellow and I can purchase that color. And don't think I won't. I'm that dedicated to this premise. up anyway, ever so slightly. Most of the shading details I kind of prefer to do in marker, just to keep it animation true, but sometimes you want to make it a little bit more interesting. If I'm, the one thing that I, when I do any kind of Simpsons artwork, I try to make it, in certain ways, I try to make it very true to the style of the show, because otherwise, what's the point? But at the same time, I wouldn't really see the point in doing a complete carbon copy of an existing animation cell either. I think either way does a kind of a disservice to the show, and just trying to celebrate the show as a fan. Add some touches here. That was just my sketchbook hitting the floor. Let's see what comes out from here. That's light enough, I think. I'm going to be adding here 2 different shades of brown, 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 brown. Oh, thank God somebody laughed at that. Now, as much as I love these Once a Strange paints of mine, I am running low on a few of them. Luckily, unlike the markers, I do have replacements for these right where I know they are. And it's not going to be as necessary later to go hunting for them. That's not to say I would care to do that right now during the stream. I'm still going to try to space them out and make the best use I can right now of what I've got right here. And also, I'm going to attempt not to bump my microphone with my paintbrush, because that's also important to not do. Which brush? You have this brush? I don't even know what kind of brush this is. Well, a 3/4. This is 3/4 inch brush. I don't know if you can see that. 3/4 inch flat brush. That's one of the brushes that I had been using over the past week. This is a newer one. This is a little small filbert brush for these small details here, these narrower spaces. Again, largely taking influence in terms of poses and character design especially. But when it comes to the color, that's where I kind of want it to look as different as I can make it. Sometimes I half-jokingly say, like, I almost want this to look like sort of a courtroom artist version of what this scene looked like on the show. Lindsay says that would be a good job for you. I was thinking about that the other day. I don't know. I've seen people do that. Like, I'm fast, but I don't think I'm that fast. Also, I'd be that one idiot I'd be that idiot courtroom artist that would be like, that would bring an important trial to a screeching halt because I needed somebody to sit still long enough for me to draw them. That's how I feel like. I feel like that's how that would end for me. After all the hard work that I did becoming a chord artist, you're just letting me go, huh? That's it. So long, good luck. I don't recall saying good luck. Yeah, I'd be that dumbass who'd be like, the trial's over, the courtroom's empty, I'm still sitting off to one side trying to finish a scene of like a cross-examination that took place 3 hours earlier. In theory, that's hilarious. And if I got paid to do something like that, in that way, that'd be great. I don't find it too terribly likely. Yeah, I'd turn them in. I'd turn them all into Simpsons characters. Sir, is there any particular reason why the defendant is depicted as having bright yellow skin? Shut up! That's why. I gotta remember, these colors blend a little bit easier than the cheapo paints that I've been using, but if they're mostly water and not enough paint, it is an unholy pain to try to blend them later, or to try to work out or keep out all of these different brush strokes and try to blend them all out into something that looks less sort of amateurish. Why do they still do courtroom drawings anymore? Anyways, ever heard of taking a picture? I would imagine it's just, it's tradition by this point. Also, I know for some trials they don't allow picture taking at all. For some courtroom court cases don't allow picture taking at all. So the only thing you see of certain trials is the courtroom artist. Is the painting by the court artist. I don't know if that necessarily explains why I think there are still artists that do courtroom paintings and drawings in court during trials where there are cameras allowed. I'm not 100% sure why that's the case, other than it may just be tradition. It's a tradition of heritage. If it's a legal thing, can it not be put into place? No one can take the pictures. It was difficult enough. I mean, it's difficult enough to disallow cameras and picture taking back before literally everything was a camera. So, and it still happened. You still manage. People would still manage to sneak cameras into courtrooms. And then the thing about photos is, on top of everything else, photos get sold. They get sold for profit. There's less of a market, and there's probably a lot more And there's probably a lot more safeguarding around court paintings than court photos. I would assume something like that becomes property of the court itself immediately after they're completed and before there's time to profit. Smithers coat is my favorite color in the world. Well, I'm not the biggest fan of that particular shade of green, but whatever does it for you. I like my greens a little bit brighter. Let's start working on the water pens. This is what I've been missing. See, I got my little reservoir pen that also has an extremely fine point, and I love these things. They are so helpful. They're so good for tiny details like this. Much easier. Still have the pen, I still don't know how to use it. It works best for blending colors, so that you don't have to be constantly dipping your brush in water. The water is right there. I still dip the pen from time to time, but it can work either way. Nope, that's too blue. (1970s) sage green is the favorite color of smart people. I could imagine you driving a station wagon that color. Just a big old clunky ass station wagon. You drive the kids to soccer practice with that. Yeah, I know you would. I'm gonna do a little touch of orange here for Smithers' work ID card there. Going to attempt to Mr. Burns and blue hair. Does that raise some interesting questions about Mr. Burns' lineage? Maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of blue-haired people. There's a lot of blue-haired people in Springfield. I don't know if that would raise any particular questions or alarms or anything like that. Let's see. Be a nice touch. Maybe he's really a Bouvier. It might be a nice touch. I almost feel like they need to start calling a moratorium in The Simpsons on having people, suddenly be revealed to be related or in some way associated with each other from in a previously undocumented past. We've already got, Homer and Marge met for the first time about 3 different times on the show. We've got the meme. They can't be revealed to be brother and sister, because then their kids would be horrible mutants with pink skin, no overbites, and 5 fingers on each hand. We've already seen like the sort of conspiracy meme that that Officer Eddie is actually Ralph Wiggum's father, which character design wise actually kind of makes way too much sense. Try to make some of this background a little bit more interesting. Barney is Nelson's real dad. From what I've heard about the backstory that they gave Nelson's dad and why he ran away, or why he was thought to have run away all those years ago, I'm not so sure if Barney being his real father wouldn't have been better. Almost forgot to color Kissinger's hair. Okay, let's see here. I'll use this one. Here we go. See, can I do these eyebrows in one brush stroke each? Sort of. Sort of. Definitely sort of. Jeez. Streamlabs. Let's see. This is brilliant work. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And you're welcome to tell anyone who will listen, really. Because we'll be doing this again. I don't know if we'll be doing it again next Sunday. we may make we may make the whole Simpsons Sunday thing and every other Sunday sort of thing. I don't know if I'm quite ready to I don't know if I'm quite ready to stream 4 days a week, including 2 consecutive days just yet. Maybe if there are some more followers in time, but for now, the Simpsons every day. That'd be nice, but it'd be a tall order, and I am not tall, so. Seriously cooler from the previous stream work there in the corner. Yeah, during the week, so far I've been trying to stick with a pretty tight, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday schedule for my streaming, and I try to do something different, something new every time. It's been a while since I've been able to draw and paint in this kind of a setting, so, and with having just started the channel on August 4th, I kind of wanted to come out swinging and do everything that I can to get people watching, to get people following. Spider-Man, a friend of mine loves Spidey. Yeah, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. If you spend any amount of time with me or you see any of my artwork, it's definitely Spider-Man centric, because he's one of my favorite characters, along with most other iterations of him, including Miles Morales, who you can see in my work there. The last Sketchbook Saturday that I did before I started streaming on Twitch, I was streaming live on Instagram. The last Sketchbook Saturday sketch that I did on Instagram was actually a reproduction of the cover for Amazing Fantasy 15, which is the first appearance of Spider-Man. And I have a poster of it, signed and framed on my wall right above my head right now, right above my, where I do my drawing. So, yeah, big Spider-Man fan. Huge Spider-Man fan. Got me into Twitch and stream the PS4 game. Now has points redeemed on his channel of random superhero villain. In fact, if you I'll check out his channel if you give me a name. If he's still streaming, I'll check him out. So now it's everybody's favorite time, and that is for me to dry the page completely. And for that, we're going to mute for just a moment, and I will be back. And if I forget to unmute, please let me know, because that's happened before too. Okay, now that I've spared everybody's ears, we'll get started with the inking. And like I said, the thing I like to get out of the way first and foremost of all when I'm doing these is getting some relatively round eyes, especially Smithers here, who is the only character in this scene who actually does have perfectly round eyes. There's going to be a little bit of cleanup later on where I'm going to come back Does it bug me that the others don't have round eyes? Not really. I'm so used to it that I mean, visually, no, it doesn't really bug me. When I have to draw them, yeah, a little bit, because then I have to figure out how to, like in the case of Burns over here, they're really kind of elliptical, so then I have to do this. And then, as you can see, I go a little bit too far there, and I'm going to have to fix that later. And Lindsay says Ben likes being annoyed by most things. Yes, but you most of all, Lindsay. It'll always be you most of all. Oh wait, I forgot Kissinger's glasses. Well, I'm sure he left them in the car. No one must know I dropped them in the toilet. Not I, the man who drafted the Paris Peace Accord. Okay, that's dead. And I have no patience for this one too, so Zebra, brush pen, I have at least half a dozen more of you. I have no patience left for you, and that is why you two are cut. Yeah, I really should just stick with this brush pen for as long as I can. It's a lot less headache. It actually allows me to cover up more things that need covering up. Hey, if my pens didn't want me flinging them across the room in a fit of performative rage, they shouldn't have tried to express themselves creatively. With no pupils is creepy, like more so than usual.
Actually, yeah, you're right.
That is creepy. That's why I'm gonna leave it like that for a little while. You've convinced me to color in his pupils last. Liver spot. I just looked up at the picture on the camera that you guys are seeing, and you're right. It's something. My friend who streams art, part of his style is doing things without pupils. When he made my emotes, I made sure at first he was adding pupils when he said they would be done in his style. It's always important to anticipate and, if possible, negate the ways in which your friends will most likely troll you. I'm a firm believer in that. I am very much in the I'm very much in that camp. Extends all the way up here. End up adding my own little inking highlights here too. That's also another way that I sort of differentiate this from the what would be considered the more traditional art of the show. Also, it's fun. Hmm? Alright. You start acting up too. If I start getting a little bit quiet, then it's only because this is sort of a detail-intensive part, and I want to make sure I'm getting it right. That was weird. Okay, I wasn't sure if you were being sarcastic. I gotta find somebody who has like the not sure if serious Philip J. Fry face as an actual emote, because if I find it, I don't care what they do. I don't care what they do on their channel. I'm subscribing. You know, I'm following and subscribing to them just to get that emote. Yeah, before I go, well, I actually got, in my haste, you know, I already created my first emote for, whenever I happen to make affiliate. Doesn't look too likely that it's going to be this month, but, it is like my first couple of emotes are probably going to be Simpsons related in some way or another. It's going to be the first one. Lindsay's already seen it. It's basically me in Simpsons character style giving the crusty what the hell was that face. I made affiliate in the space of about a month. I'm sure it's possible. I'm sure it's possible, and we'll see what happens. I'm promoting as much as I can, and I'm trying to be as diverse as I can with what I'm drawing. For me, I'm testing out a lot as far as art streamers on Twitch and what kind of an audience and how much of an audience they can attract. And I follow a few artists on Twitch, but who are, you know, affiliates and partners, and they've got it all figured out. Certainly gonna give it my best shot to sort of stake my claim and see how well received, you know, what I do will be. Please excuse the creaking and squeaking of the Sharpie. Well, yeah, Retro Gamer 89 says, and it's an important point. Also, boo, Lindsay. Boo. But Retro Gamer says, I think getting followers is one of the hard parts, but then people don't realize some of the other things you need for it. Me, I have always been like supremely uncomfortable. You know, as an artist, I've always been very uncomfortable with the million different hats you have to wear to be any kind of a successful artist. You know, in this particular era of internet fame and the like, you're kind of forced to be you know, your own sort of agent and your own sort of talent manager. And don't worry about becoming famous from this. Do it for enjoyment. That's first and foremost why I'm doing it. Like, trust me, if I didn't enjoy this, I wouldn't have put as much work into it as I have. But this is also being an artist is also a long-term career goal for me. So this is just, you know, one more avenue that I'm pursuing to make that possible. I just realized I gave Kissinger some seriously huge Millhouse eyebrows. Kissinger without pupils is weirder. I remember I have to keep looking up at what you guys are seeing to know what you're talking about as far as what it looks like to you. Yeah, at this point, given the contrast of the contrast that the camera creates, it's probably extremely hard for you guys to see any of the blue pencil lines. So yeah, everybody looks pupilless. The more you guys keep talking about that, the longer it's gonna take for me to actually, you know, doing the pupils, because I am endlessly amused by this. Hmm? Just about to see Smithers' pupils somewhere there behind all that white. It's a start. I'm still not coloring them in just yet, though. I mean, eventually I'm gonna have to. I'm running out of lines to ink anyway. Huh. Mm-hmm. It's right about here. I'm gonna have to remember that anytime I do a Simpsons stream. I'm gonna have to remember that pupil-less Simpsons characters tend to freak people out, and therefore I will continue to do it at every and all opportunities that I get. See, it's this sort of antagonism that's really going to keep me from making affiliate. It's not a very good business model to be purposely trollish towards your own viewers. Went too far with Smithers' hair, into Smithers' hair. That's what happens when you get carried away. Don't worry, I can fix it. And I will. After the commercial. Yeah, when I say to the end, I mean there's like a critical part here where I want to where I actually want to go through here in some opaque marker and sort of clear out some of those pencil lines. First, that's too light. That's too dark, actually. but it might work as a shadowing color, as a shading color. I like it. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna need another one of these because this particular one is also not long for this world. I definitely see a cut in your future. Let's see, where did I put that mark? Oh, it's all the way at the bottom of all of my stuff. It's right about chaos o'clock on my supplies table right now. Every time I do a stream, I have a hole off to one side. You can't see it. I have all of my art supplies that I'm going to need for the entire length of the stream, and they're all laid out and organized, as nicely and neatly as I can before we start. And by the time we're done, they're just all over the place. They're all on top of each other. I can't find anything. It's pretty funny. At least it is when I'm finished and I don't have to worry about it. Now, about those opaque markers. That wasn't something important. Nope, not in here. Now, I don't remember if the yellow marker that I had was... Let's see, 1 millimeter. Is it gonna make all the pencil lines go bye-bye? Possibly. Possibly. See? And there's still a little visible smear there. But once that dries, I can always just color back over it. Yeah, that works quite well. I'm definitely going to need another one of these. Yeah, this yellow is close enough to Simpsons yellow to be acceptable, at least for tonight. I can work out what I'm going to do with it later in future streams. Especially poor Smithers, man. I think I rushed him because I'm really gonna have to see. This is pretty much the equivalent of just using white out, except it's yellow out. Not too shabby. I may not know art, but I know what I hate. And I don't hate this. Do another pass across Burns' dome. Then what you want to do, or at least I want to do, is sort of sharpen up some of these less defined lines. I don't mind stylizing a bit of Simpsons artwork, but it seems to take away from what it's supposed to look like if we don't make some of these lines as tight and as sharp as possible. To figure out what I'm gonna do with Smithers. Poor Smithers is his hairline. Also, oh wow, this is how I know I'm done with a white paint marker. I pulled the cap out, and that's the marker. That's where the tip of the marker is supposed to be. And if you look very closely in here, that's where the tip remained in the marker. What do you think? Am I done with this marker or what? Oh, marker. Little did you know, I've got about 8 more of you. You're cut. Ha! Brand new. Still missing part of the frame for the glasses. Yeah, I forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me. Let's do that right now. Unless, of course, that frightens you in some way, in which case I'll leave it the way it is. Ha 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 ha. There we go. What I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint Smithers' his hair a darker shade of gray and see how that works out. Just right here. I can disguise it a little bit. Maybe not. So many pens have died today. So many. Oh, trust me, there's plenty more where that came from. You're an artist too. You know you can't afford to get sentimental over a single disposable pen. Brushes, maybe. If they're refillable, probably. But disposable? Nah, you gotta chuck those. That's half the fun. See, I'm the opposite. I try to hang on to brushes for as long as I can. First of all, because brushes are freaking expensive. And second of all, much like India ink, brushes are really contrary, and even if you know the exact brand and the exact style and the exact number of the brush that you want, is not always a guarantee that any two of those brushes that are supposed to be the same are actually the same. So when you find a really good one, or at least when I find a really good one, I try to keep it as nice and functioning as I possibly can for as long as I possibly can. because I'm always worried that when I have to go looking for a new one just like it, it still won't be as good. Yeah, I use cheap brushes too. What do you think this was? This came in a set. This came in a set of like 6 brushes for like $10. I still use my cheap supplies, but if and when I drop money on a good one, I try to make it last as long as I possibly can. Right, back to this original new white marker. I purposely, when I first found out a place that was selling these markers, I purposely bought a lot, and I mean a lot of the same kind of these. Especially this has got a 1mm tip. You could put someone's eye out with that. It's really good for the type of stuff that I do, especially. Where you can do these fine details, and also, I want to make as much good use out of this as possible before it starts getting clogged up and dried up, because that is basically the fate of all paint markers on a long enough timeline. Unfortunately, no paint marker lasts forever. They will all eventually crap out on you. They are, to a certain extent, meant to be disposable, unlike, some of these brushes. You can sometimes extend the life of a good paintbrush. Marker, though, when it's done, and, specifically a paint marker, when it's done, it's done. Where did I put my gun? Where did I put my whiteout? Trying to get rid of as many of these pencil lines as I can remember to, as we near the end of our very first Simpsons Sunday. And I thank you guys for coming, and I hope you will make it back when we do this. It will most likely be in about 2 weeks. Give this a little bit more contrast again. I don't know if any of you guys, I guess to some extent all artists do this. You do the lean back, when you're trying to get an idea of if your work as a whole is working, you do one of these. You have to lean back and look at it from a distance, and you're kind of crossing your fingers that that it actually looks okay. Now this is just the process of tightening up the colors and some of the white areas and dead areas and seeing as how there's absolutely no other part of this that needs to be completed, I'd like to thank you all for coming. And I'm just kidding. I remember the pupils. There's one. Worried about smearing any part of this now. So let's see. Actually, Burns is gonna look really weird for a minute because his eyes were way over here. So I'm gonna have to fix that. His eyes were actually way over here. I'm gonna have to wipe those out. See, if you thought that was creepy before, look at him now with two peoples. That was way creepier for a minute there. Yeah, you guys said draw the pupils in. You didn't say they had to be in separate eyes. Huh? Huh? If I ever do like a weird... just anything goes edition of the stream, maybe maybe I'll do some crazy things. I'll do some I'll do something like that. I'll put the eyes in wacky positions, or I'll do like, I'll do a straight. Actually, this would be a good idea for like an opening sketch next time, which is to draw one of the weird like freeze frames from like the first couple of seasons, like the weird horrific ones, like for Bart, they call it like twister mouth, where like his eyes are going this way, but his mouth is going this way. There's like a couple of, I think there's only like one or two. There's only one or two images that were actually in the show where he does that, and it's still really, really weird. Even at the time, it still felt weird and out of place. And I say that as somebody who has watched since, you know, the Tracy Ullman days. Like even back then, those were weird, and you know everybody knew they were weird. Or you know, just the really oddball ones, like, you know, like Homer's face when he's like when he spits out the donut he was choking on when he hears about the softball sign up. Stuff like that. That'd be good to draw one of these days for, you know, as a warm up. Yeah, front-facing Simpson. Well, actually, front-facing Burns is probably the creepiest looking one. Front-facing Burns looks even more bizarre and terrifying than No Pupils Burns. Watched as long as I can remember, and I was only 2 months old when they did the first full-length episode. Yeah, we were all down before the hype. We're some Simpsons lifers over here. I certainly am. You know, I could go on and wax poetic, you know, for a long time about how the show, you know, shaped my, you know, my sense of humor and my love for comedy and for art as a kid. But I like to think that these sketches and these paintings speak more about that than I could. So, this, you know, if the last 2 hours hasn't given you the idea, the last 2.5 hours hasn't given you the idea that that I love the show, there's not a whole lot that I could say that would. If I was a bit older and the Tracy Ullman shorts were a big thing over here, I'm sure I would have seen them too. I think I missed it. Where are you located at, Retro Gamer? Where are you from? Oh, you're also from England? I thought it was just Luke. Okay, so you. First of all, it's very late where you are, so thank you again for hanging out with us. And yeah, I'm not sure how. I'm not sure if if the Tracy Ullman cartoons back then, you know, if the Tracy Ullman show or the Simpsons shorts on them were a thing in England during that time. I'm pretty sure the show, the show came out everywhere at basically the same time. I don't think I would have to look that up unless you know for sure if it premiered in the UK any sooner or later than it did in the States. the actual premiere here of the first episode was about the same time as it was, the Christmas special in 1989. That is, I think, that is the fact that the Christmas special came out in '89, I think, is the only way that the show has ever been able to claim that that it spanned, that it originated in the '80s, because it literally, like, you might say the '80s ended when The Simpsons premiered January 31st, 1989. It's almost like that. It was pretty close to that. It was, Christmas of '89, and that's why we're all able to say that, what is it, 80s, 90s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010, 2020. Technically, like, with if there's any new Simpsons that comes out this year, the show can claim to have spanned 5 decades, because it technically started in December of '89, so the '80s count. It's that sort of thing. But it got in, like, just under the wire, Yeah, like, it just, like, if you're born in October '89. I'm a little bit older than that, so I remember seeing actually seeing the Christmas special. I was a pretty young kid, but I definitely remember that. I also remember the general disappointment of having to sit through I remember the general disappointment of having to sit through an episode of the Tracy Ullman Show that didn't have a Simpsons cartoon in it. Like, that show wasn't the worst, but if you're a little kid and you wanted to see these wacky animated characters, and instead, you're just seeing this much different sketch comedy, then you're just kind of like, what the hell is this? I'm not sure. I doubt I'm the only one that had that experience, but I have a feeling Fox and James L. Brooks and everybody who was who needed to know got pretty wise to that pretty quickly. And I'm gonna do something I don't like doing and I don't usually do, and that's painting in solid black, because these marker lines and these brush lines are getting on my nerves. Yeah, I can't for the life of me. I don't remember the Tracy Ullman Show being actively bad, but if you're an impatient kid and you want to see your cartoons and you're not seeing that, and you're just gonna be like, I don't want to watch this right now. Was the show bad? I don't remember the show at all. I could not name you a single Tracy Ullman sketch. I could not tell you a single thing other than I think most, if not all, of the cast of the Simpsons actually acted in the show. I'm pretty sure Dan Castaneda was a regular cast member on the show, and that's how he ended up voicing Homer Simpson, was just because he was one of the cast members. I guess that also explains why. First of all, the Tracy Ullman Show was occasionally the butt of a few Simpsons jokes, and why she eventually ended up suing Fox. and why she did exactly one guest appearance on The Simpsons and never ever did another one. One early on guest appearance in The Simpsons. All right, this is a Simpsons trivia question that could possibly win you guys a lot of money. Who did Tracy Ullman play in the one time she guest appeared on The Simpsons? Who did she play? Anybody remember? Just shout it out. Nobody remembers? Lindsay, I'm counting on you if you're still out there. Do you remember? Maggie, no. Although everybody always has their own. Everybody, I think, at this point has a dream scenario of like how the last episode of The Simpsons should go. That was always mine. I always thought like if they were ever gonna do like an actual real final episode of The Simpsons, it should actually, it should be it should take place in the future, but it should have Tracy Ullman voicing adult Maggie in some in some capacity. I thought that'd be a cool like full circle. There's a future episode that exists that, for all intents and purposes, probably should have been the last episode of the show. I forget what the hell it's called, but it was one of the better future episodes. Not all of them are that great. Some of them are good. Some of them are, like Lisa's Wedding. That one is legendary, but not all of them are great. This one was like a rare, really, really good one, and if they wanted to make it like a series finale, it felt like a series finale. There's a whole video, like somebody did a whole video explaining why, and I don't remember what the link is. It's on YouTube. I encourage you to check it out. It was a really good video, and it explained a lot of the things that I also happen to agree with. So nobody knows what voice Tracy Ullman played in her one like guest spot on The Simpsons. She was the dog trainer. She was the English dog trainer. You looked it up. Don't. You looked it up. We'll see about that. Yeah, she was the she was, pull the bloody chain. She was that dog trainer. Emily Winthrop, okay. See, then I would have lost, I would have lost that question if I was, required to give an actual name. And I'm usually pretty good with names, especially names of Simpsons characters, and oddly, names of obscure Simpsons characters. But I couldn't remember that one. I think we're going to call this one done, and we're going to call it an evening. I'm going to finish my lemonade and my beer. Maybe not on the stream. But anyway. So we managed to get Kissinger out of the way after all. I'll be posting these a little bit later. Hopefully the Facebook group will get an idea of what the stream is about, and we can get some more people in here. Because it's already I'm already enjoying the discussion, and it's just 3 of us in here. So hopefully the more the merrier. At least I hope so. Fix this up real quick. Because these corners that I taped are gonna bug me if I leave them the way that they are. Like I said, once again, these brushes are really good for blending. Oh, you. To work this back up here just to cover up the little bit of tape that I put down here. That actually kind of works out nicely. Let's do it up here too. Did I say I was done? I lied. I try to do very little. I try to do very little more after I've signed it, but sometimes you just got to do more. Huh. Get that out of there. See, this is just going to be no end of aggravation for me if I just keep doing it, because now I've taken the tape off, and as you can see, I'm smearing black paint. It's just going to get worse until I finally decide to, put it down and be done with it. I'm just going to find new things to fix, and by trying to fix those, I'm going to end up messing something else up. To the next Simpsons artwork night, or maybe something else will catch my eye before that. Well, you're always welcome, and I'm glad you had a good time, and I hope you come back. I'm gonna try to sort of do something cross promotional as far as Twitch goes. And when I say cross promotional, I want to do some video game related art pretty soon to get people interested. And see how that works. I just, among other things, that I got back along with my better paints yesterday is because I to some extent I retro game too. I just don't stream, and I'm not as serious about it as some people are. It's not something that I intend to stream. But I had like an all-in-one like Super NES cartridge that I've been using, or that I had gotten on eBay, but I hadn't gotten the chance to use. And I finally got it back yesterday. So, like, my first order of business, and probably the entire reason why I got it in the first place, was to be able to play, Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. So that's what I'm probably going to be doing as soon as I get off the stream and eat something, and after I eat something. And that's probably what I'll be doing the rest of this week, because I'm going back to work next week. So I'm going to try to take it as easy as possible until then. And that will probably put me in the mood to maybe do some Legend of Zelda related artwork, because that's one of my favorite game series, at least as far as retro games go. The first 3 Zeldas are among my favorites, so that may be an idea for streaming later this week. If that sounds like something you're into, or something that your friends might be into, invite them along. The next stream will be on Tuesday, and after that on Thursday. So it's a solid chance it'll be. There's a solid chance it'll be some of those. It'll be one of those 2 days. For me, it's Sonic, who grew up in Sega Mega Drive kids. So did I, actually. But, like I said, I'm a little bit older than you, so I'm a little bit older than you, so I played the 8-bit stuff too before the 16-bit stuff. I'm all about Sonic the Hedgehog too, and that's another future idea. There's a lot of things that I want to do, that I've now got even more options and even more avenues to do it. If doing gaming art is something that will get people showing up to the stream, then I'll do that more often, and we'll see what happens. So this is what I got. We managed to knock out 3 drawings in just about 3 hours. So we got Donut Homer, we got Little Jamshed, thanks for the suggestion, and then we've got Kissinger and Burns and Smithers. So I think. Oh no, I know what you meant by Mega Drive. I remember. I think it was called Mega Drive in most of the rest of the world. It was only called the Genesis in the United States and Canada, I think. Maybe not even Canada. I'm not sure. But like I said, I'll be posting these up soon, and yeah. See, Lindsay's from Canada. So it was called the Genesis in Canada too. I think that's what it was. It was in like North America. It was called the Sega Genesis, and then literally everywhere else on Earth it was called the Mega Drive. It was weird. It's a weird thing. U.S. couldn't have it, as another company had the name Mega Drive Electronic. Well, that makes sense. There's always a workaround. So like I was saying, I'm really glad you guys enjoyed our first Simpsons Sunday. I will make this a regular thing. We may take next Sunday off, though, and come back, because, like I said, I'm streaming a lot, and I don't want to commit to every single Sunday, because then my entire weekend is spoken for. And with me about to return to the day job, that's probably not the best idea in the world. Quality would suffer, if at the very least, if not my very sanity. So expect 2 weeks from 2 weeks from today to be the next Simpsons Sunday. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your friends' friends, your friends' enemies, your enemies' enemies. It's a good time, and it'll be an even better time if we can get a community growing in here. I will be streaming again Tuesday night. This Tuesday night at 8 p.m. I hope you will join me then. I hope anybody who is watching this in the future will be joining me then. And until then, I hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend. I hope you have a good beginning to your week. Always remember to make friends through art. And I will see you very, very soon. And until I see you guys again, always remember, stay safe, laugh hard, ride fast, and be kind.